Everyone, this is Shweta Saxena and I welcome you all on this channel GK Tech. Today we will discuss about the analysis of algorithm, but before discussing about the analysis of algorithm, I would like to introduce algorithm again and some criteria that an algorithm must follow. So, in last lecture, we have seen that algorithm is nothing but sequence of steps to solve any problem in computer system, and it is independent of any high level language. What does it mean? While writing the algorithm, you don't need to bother about the syntax and semantics of any high level language like C, C++, Java, etc. Okay, so the language of algorithm is known as pseudocode. Algorithm is written in pseudocode. Okay. Next, there are some criteria that an algorithm must follow. The first criteria is input. An algorithm must have 0 or more input. Output, algorithm must produce one or more outputs. Okay, that means at least one output. Algorithm must produce at least one output. Definiteness, each step of algorithm must be well defined. Okay, it should be clear and unambiguous. Each step of an algorithm must be clear and unambiguous. Okay, each step. Next is finiteness. The algorithm must terminate after some finite number of steps. Must terminate after some finite number of steps. What does it mean? You know, sequence of steps to solve any problem in computer system is called algorithm. These sequence of steps must be finite. There should be finite number of steps. No algorithm should contain infinite steps. Okay. Effectiveness, each instruction or each step of the algorithm must produce an individual effect. Okay. Each instruction in the algorithm must produce an individual effect. Individual effect on algorithm. Okay. No instruction should be written that doesn't produce any effect. Okay. So these are the basic criteria that an algorithm must satisfy. Okay. Now, if we talk about the program and the difference between algorithm and program, as we seen in last lectures, difference between algorithm and program. Okay. First, if I am talking about a program, then program must follow the syntax and semantics of any high level language, whereas algorithm is written in pseudocode. That means no syntax of high level languages are followed. Another big difference is algorithm must satisfy these 5 criteria, but a program don't need to satisfy criteria number 4, that is finiteness. How? You can think about the operating system. Okay, operating system is a program that never terminates except some crashes. When you switch on your system, operating system starts running, and it starts running until you shut down the system. It never terminates. Okay, it is an infinite program. This is the best example of your infinite program. So an algorithm a program can be infinite, whereas an algorithm must have finite number of steps. Okay, so this is all about the algorithm and program, introduction of algorithm and program. Now we'll come to the analysis of algorithm. Okay, what is analysis of algorithm? Analysis means analysis of time and analysis of space. How much time an algorithm takes to execute and how much space in memory an algorithm is taking. Okay, so time taken by an algorithm is analyzed in terms of time complexity, that means time taken by an algorithm to execute, okay, and space taken by an algorithm in random access memory is called space complexity. Okay, time complexity is very important because in GATE examination or in your engineering syllabus, time complexity is asked. Some data structures, for some data structures it is necessary to discuss about the space complexity also. So I'll discuss it later on whenever the matter comes. Okay, so time complexity is what? Time taken by an algorithm to execute. Okay, see how it is measured. Okay, let us see time taken by an algorithm depends upon. Okay, what are the parameters on which time taken by an algorithm depends? Okay, number one, number of inputs. Number of inputs. Okay, see how if you have got number of inputs is equal to 100. Say if you have got 100 elements to sort, then algorithm takes more time as compared to you would be having 5 numbers to sort. If you would be having 5 numbers to sort, the time taken by an algorithm is less as compared to the algorithm which takes 100 numbers as input for sorting. Okay, so it depends upon number of inputs. Second is arrangement of input. See how? Suppose you have given 5 numbers to sort. 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You need to sort this number. Whatever algorithm you will write, it will take more time as compared to the sorted element. Number of elements are same in these two cases, but the arrangement is different. Okay, so algorithm will take less time in sorting the already sorted number. Okay, so arrangement, it depends upon time taken by an algorithm, depends upon arrangement of inputs as well. Okay, third is method used. Okay. See, there can be a number of methods to solve any problem. See, you would like to go from Bhopal to Indore. Then there can be a shortest route, or there can be a longest route. If you follow the shortest route, your method would be different. Method 1, shortest route. You would like to go from Bhopal to Indore. Okay. In method 2, you follow longest route. Say in case of routing also. So, method 1 takes less time as compared to the method 2. So, it depends upon, time taken by an algorithm also depends upon how well is your method. Okay. Method used. Next, if we talk about the program, time taken by a program. Time taken by a program depends upon number of inputs, same, arrangement of inputs, because when algorithm will be translated into the program, you need to have a high level language, okay, to write the program. So, your program also depends upon number of input. Time taken by a program also depends upon number of inputs, arrangement of inputs, method used. And one more thing is there, hardware or software used. See, you don't need to run an algorithm into your system, but you have to translate algorithm into a program. That means this pseudocode written in form of algorithm will be translated in some high level language, and this program will be executed on any type of system or hardware. If you will use slow processor, or your machine you would be having low lack of memory, okay, small memory you would be having, slow processor you are having. So, for these things your algorithm will take more time as compared to you are using a modern machine which is having very high memory and very high speed processor. Okay, so time taken by a program also depends upon hardware or software used. Sometimes it also depends upon the code written. If you write a poor code of your program or software, then it will take a lot of time as compared to if you write minimum number of instructions into the code. Okay, if you're well in coding, so you will write minimum number of instructions in a program. So it will take less time. Okay, so time taken by a program also depends upon hardware or software use, whereas time taken by an algorithm depends upon these three factors only. Okay. So next we will see how we analyze this time. Okay. Time taken by an algorithm to execute. An algorithm. It is measured in form of time complexity. In bracket, time complexity. Okay. Friends, there are two methods to analyze a particular algorithm. First method is called priori analysis. Second method is called posteriori analysis. Okay. As the name shows, priori analysis means time taken by an algorithm is measured before or prior to the translation of algorithm into a program. Measured before the translation of algorithm into a program. Because it is measured before writing the program, you don't need to execute on particular hardware. So, time behavior is measured, okay, not the exact time units. Because exact time units can only be measured after the execution, but in this method we measure time of an taken by an algorithm before translation into a program. That is why it is called priori analysis, before or prior. Okay. Now, posteriori analysis. In posteriori analysis, we measure time units, actual time units after translation of an algorithm into the program. So, time is measured after the translation of algorithm into the program. See which method is good. In posteriori, we are talking about posteriori analysis. Okay. In posteriori analysis, because you need to suppose analysis means we have got 5 methods to solve any problem in computer system. So, according to that algorithm, 5 algorithm will be there. Algorithm 1, algorithm 2, say algorithm 3, algo 4 and algo 5. There are 5 methods to solve any problem in computer system, any particular problem, and so 5 algorithm exist. Okay, 5 algorithm. These 5 algorithms are translated into program. Program 2, program 3, program 4 and program 5. And we have considered high level language, say Java. You can take any language, okay? Java or any other language, okay? You have used same high level language and same hardware computer system, okay? And you will one by one execute this program and measure the actual time unit. Time taken by algorithm 1, time taken by algorithm 2, time taken by a program 3, 4 and 5. These will be exact time units, say 3:55 minutes, 2:55 minutes, like that. Okay, because you have implemented into the hardware, implemented algorithm. And say time 2, time taken by an algorithm 2 is less as compared to all the other algorithm. Time taken by an algorithm is less than rest of the algorithms. Okay. So, So, your time taken by algorithm 2 is minimum as compared to the other algorithms. So algorithm 2 is best. Analysis means among these 5 methods, among these 5 algorithm 2 is best. It will have minimum time complexity. So this is posteriori analysis. You have given algorithm, so you will first translate it into the program. You have given n number of algorithm, you will translate it, the algorithms into the programs, n number of programs, then you will measure exact time units. This is posterior analysis. What are the disadvantages of posterior analysis? See, you have to translate all the algorithms into the program. Say n number of algorithms are there, so you need n software engineers or n number of programmers who will translate your algorithm into the program, and you must use the hardware resource n number of times for getting the exact time units. This is the disadvantage of this posteriori analysis. Okay, so it is not used in real world or for solving the practical problems. So this method, we don't use this posteriori analysis. Okay, we use priori analysis. See, what is this priori analysis? In priori analysis, time behavior is measured. Means if you have got 5 algorithms, then you measure time behavior. How you will measure time behavior? We will talk about this priori analysis in detail in next lectures. We will solve the actual problems, and these problems will help you to solve the questions of GATE examination. Okay, but in this lecture we will just see the introduction. Okay. So in priori analysis, how you measure the behavior? You will plot a graph between number of inputs and number of executions, total number of executions. In next lectures, I will explain how you will calculate this total number of executions in terms of frequency count. Okay. So, and you will plot a graph of each algorithm. Say your algorithm 1, this is the plot of algorithm 1, algorithm 2, algorithm 3, algo 4 and algo 5. Sorry, because in last example we have given this time of algorithm 2 is minimum. Okay, say in this manner. Okay, so as number of inputs are increased, your time units, your time total number of executions also increase. Okay, but for same number of inputs, growth of algorithm 2 is minimum, so it will have minimum time complexity. You will understand it better in when you solve the actual problems in next lectures and plot the graph accordingly. Okay, so here in this example, growth of algorithm 2 is minimum. With number of inputs, it take minimum number of executions or time. So it is the best. You have never translated all the algorithm into the program. You just analyze the behavior in terms of plot. Now you find out that algorithm 2 is best. Now you will translate this algorithm into the program. So, in summary of analysis, we can say that among these 5 algorithms, algorithm 2 is having minimum time complexity, or algorithm 2 is best. Okay. So, in this way, priori analysis is done. Okay. We will solve the problems in next lectures. Okay. Till now, thank you.